In this video, we're going to take a look at how you can format and customize string output in Python. So we've started off here by providing a summary slide at the beginning of the video. This covers everything you need to know and you expected to use for the exam. So pause briefly and take some notes, and then we're going to work through some of these in an example to show you how they actually work. Essentially, Python offers the ability to customize output for the use of the string.format method. There are various characters and symbols you can use in the formatting method which affect how the formatting occurs. So let's look at a very simple program. We can see here we're printing out three calculations and then their result. So for example, in the first line, we're printing out 3 divided by 2.5, and there's a space between the 3 and the 2.5, equals, and there's a space either side of the equals, and then the result of the calculation, and that will be concatenated to the print line with a space. So you can see there the actual output that would be printed from these 3 lines of code, along with effectively the columns that output would appear in. Now, the original output looks a bit messy. For a start, the 3 calculations aren't aligned equally. The second calculation has a reoccurring fraction, 0.33333. It would be much nicer if we could, for example, format the output so it was all neatly aligned and it was only formatted to a single decimal place, preventing that reoccurring number. Well, we can do this with the string.format method. So let's look at the first output line, 1.2, in effectively output columns 11 to 13. Well, that's fine. We don't actually need to fiddle with the output of that format. The second one, however, we do. To get it to line up neatly, we want to move the 0 point and the 3 to 2 columns. Yeah, 2 columns over to the right to line it up with the 1.2 above. And we also want to get rid of all the reoccurring digits after the first decimal place. And of course, this needs to be padded by the 2 places on the left so that it lines up correctly. In a similar way, there's no additional elements to knock off the right here, but we want to pad the number 2 spaces to the right so it lines up neatly. So all of this can be achieved by the .format method. So the previous 3 lines of print text that you see above in Python would now look as follows. You'll notice that we've written everything out in the form of the string. So we've still got the 3 divided by 2.5 equals, but then in the space where we want the output, we specify this formatting method. It starts with an open curly brackets and a colon and ends with a closed curly brackets. And depending what we then put inside there depends how the output will be formatted. After the string, we say .format and we supply the calculation or the variable that we want placed and formatted in that location. You can see here from the Python output window that this works, but let's actually work through it a little bit. So this first format specifier, 3.1f, is essentially saying format the output field to a total width of 3 columns with 1 after the fixed point. So that's the 3.1. Total columns of 3. We want a fixed point with 1 after the point. Now, as we mentioned, we technically wouldn't need to include that line because the result's exactly the same, but we're showing how we can still use it. This next one says greater than 5.1f. So this is saying format the output field to a total width of 5 columns with 1 after the fixed point and align the output to the right. And that gives us the padding of 2 on the left, so it lines up nicely. And it's the same for the last one. Python also allows you to put multiple format specifiers in a single line. So here, for example, we have a simple program. It's asking the user to enter 3 decimal numbers, a width, a height and a depth. It then times them together, stores them in volume, and then prints the calculation out. So you can see it prints out width, concatenated to an asterisk, height, an asterisk, depth, and equals, and then volume. And you can see the result of the program below. We can rewrite the whole line of code using format specifiers. Now, one benefit here, as you can see, is we've now got one single string line. We haven't had to concatenate the various bits of the variables with the strings. When we say .format at the end, we then have to specify each of the variables one at a time, and those variables match up in the various locations. So width would end up in the first format specified location and will be formatted to 3 columns with 1 after the fixed decimal point. Height would then take the place of the second format specifier, depth the place of the third, and volume the place of the fourth. Now, although you may have actually entered information more than 1 decimal point, as you can be seen here in the example, and we know the answer has lots of decimal points, the result is being displayed to just 1 decimal point because that's what we've asked for in the format specifiers. This doesn't result in the accuracy of the calculation being diminished. It still happens accurately behind the scenes. We're just altering how the formatting is being displayed on the screen.